What's up, YouTube world? PTF Week 4 coming at you right here. Week 3. Boy, there's a changing of the guard as far as the hot team in the country right now, and I believe Alabama might be sweating that one a little bit because this man, as much as I don't want to say it, we'll talk about him in a minute. Let's talk about Week 3 real quick. Oregon falls to Nebraska. Called that one, picked that one. I think Oregon's a little bit on the rebound right now. Rebuilding season. Freeman's out. They'll be back. Oregon's recruiting. They got like 8 million jerseys. Who doesn't want to go play at Oregon, Ohio State. Real deal. Real deal. They are legit. Oklahoma's going to fall to 1-2. Still in the top 25. But 1-2. So I believe the playoff picture for everybody out there in Norman is about over. Ole Miss falls short of beating Bama. You knew that was going to happen, bro. You ain't going to beat Nick Saban again. Come on. Valiant try, but let's be real. You ain't going to do it. Stanford rolls USC. My boy McCaffrey, he's something serious. Stanford's the real deal right now, and they're going to win the Pac-12. There's no question there, unless they really, really slip up a little bit. California beats Texas. Now, didn't see that coming. I think Texas overlooked Cal and what's his name, Webb or so-and-so. You think he came from Texas Tech transfer or something. I mean, boy's going to throw the ball 1,000 times a game, and what you going to do? Texas, can't sleep on nobody. Come on, it's college football right now. And the game that everyone's talking about, all I keep hearing about is, this and that and this and that. Louisville is legit. Lamar Jackson is legit. Destroyed FSU. It wasn't even close in any way, shape, or form at all. Nothing. Okay? So Louisville is they're number 2 right now. They deserve to be number 2 right now. And if I was Alabama, I'd probably be sweating that. Because if that man can make Florida State's defense look slow, because that ain't a bad D right there. Anyways, that's your Week 3. Get into some of the Heisman talk because there's a new man at the top of the list. And we'll get into some, conference leaders. And then obviously Week 4. Now, after the performance Saturday, I still have my regulars. I think Fournette still is on the list to an extent. He hasn't been as dominant this year as he has been. I'm still going to put him on my list. Mr. Cook from Florida State, I'm still going to put him on the list. McCaffrey from Stanford is obviously on the list. Watson from Clemson is obviously on the watch list. Clemson's offense just isn't playing the greatest right now. I mean, yes, they put up 50-some points, but dude, it was against some high school. So, who cares? Well, they've got Georgia Tech this week, so we're going to see a little bit more of what Clemson has. Me personally, I think that Dabo is kind of holding back until we get into some play because he's got some serious games coming up. Now, JT Barrett at Ohio State is obviously making a call. He's pushing to be on the Heisman. He's on the Heisman list. I mean, he's legit. All right, Ohio State is serious. They're definitely one of the top 4 teams in the country. Can they beat Louisville? Lamar Jackson, I don't know. Mr. Ward at Houston obviously has made the list. He's a little bit banged up. Still, though, him being on the field gives Houston the threat to make big things happen. And obviously, number 1 on the list right now is Lamar Jackson. And as much as I hate to say it, and even Mr. Mike Vick said it himself, this dude, you can hate Vick all you want. It is what it is. The man was arguably one of the top 10 greatest college quarterbacks of all time. Okay, no one had ever come on the scene and did the things that he did. Okay, especially against Florida State in the national championship. Vick, they just couldn't outscore him. Okay, but he gave it a damn shot. Lamar Jackson, what he did to Florida State and what he's been doing all year, is something college football has not seen in a very, very, very long time. Okay, this is like a once in a generation type player, and they said that about Vic. Well, there's another one. This kid is young, and he's going to be around all year. Okay, now there's not a lot that you can say bad about him because he's killing it, and that's just the way it is. So Lamar Jackson's going to be number one on my list. That wraps up our Heisman's. Let's get into our conferences. Top conferences. Now, the SEC is always the top of the list, okay? And I still think Alabama's going to win that conference. The SEC, to me, right now, is not... They're arguably not the top conference in college football right now. I mean, if you look at their teams, Georgia is not living up to expectations. We'll see what Florida has got. They have Tennessee this week. Tennessee is not the greatest team, by the way. Yes, they beat my boys, whatever. You turn the ball over 5 times, what do you expect? Okay? But they did win, so, Rocky Top, whatever. So, you talk about that, and they're still not the greatest. South Carolina's terrible. Vandy's terrible. Mississippi State is not that good. Auburn's defense is really good. Their offense can't seem to get anything going. LSU with a quarterback change, I think it's going to help them to an extent, but unless you start making big things happen in the passing game, Fournette is not going to be able to get things going. Alabama obviously is dominant. Ole Miss, we'll see. I just don't think that the SEC is the best team in college football right now, and as much as I hate to say it, I think the Big Ten is the best team. You have Ohio State, Michigan, who's not a slouch, Michigan State, who isn't a pushover. Wisconsin obviously has shown that they can play ball. I mean, you take that, you have Iowa. Yes, they just lost, but they lost to North Dakota State. And off subject, when are teams going to realize to stop scheduling these good teams, the FCS or whatever? James Madison beat Virginia Tech. Appalachian State beat Michigan. Gave Tennessee a scare in overtime. Maybe we should just pick Charlotte High School or, Florida Eastern Atlantic Middle College or something. Stop picking the hard ones. I would just overlook that one, okay? The Big Ten is the best conference in college football right now. They would beat the SEC hands down, besides maybe Alabama. That's it. Next on the list, as much as I think the ACC is better than the SEC right now, and I know that sounds nuts. Louisville right now I think can beat any team in the country. If they played the way they did against Florida State, Louisville will beat any team in the country hands down, and that's just the way that goes. Florida State's still not a slouch. Clemson still hasn't lost a game except Alabama in 2 years, so let's not talk how bad they are, okay? Virginia Tech's not a slouch. UNC's not a slouch. There's some good. Pittsburgh's not a slouch. The ACC has a lot of talent right now, and they have Miami. As much as I hate to say it, but I mean, look at Miami. Everybody's talking about Appalachian State going to beat them, but he went up there to Boone and waxed them. So I think the ACC is the second best team in the country, and I think Louisville's going to win the ACC this year. The SEC and the Pac-12 may be tied. Probably the SEC's probably better than. I'm going to say they're better than the Pac-12. And Stanford's going to win that one, and then I'm going to put the Big 12 in there. I still think Oklahoma's going to beat Texas. So that pretty much wraps up our conferences. Let's look and see what we got coming up on Week 4. Okay, Week 4 is coming up. Some good games. We're going to start off with Clemson, Georgia Tech, kicking off Thursday night. We're going to see what Clemson's all about. We haven't really seen them play a decent team yet. The offense is kind of sputtered except for last week, and we're going to see what they got. I'm going to take Clemson in this one. That's Georgia Tech. I don't think they're going to be able to score with Clemson. Okay, they possess the ball for long periods of time, whatever. Clemson, they're just not going to be able to score with them. So I'm taking Clemson on a Thursday night. Utah USC is kicking off Friday. The Trojans are going to bounce back. They're going to beat Utah. Saturday, we got Georgia Ole Miss. Ole Miss, after the Florida State beatdown and the Alabama beatdown, Ole Miss is going to beat Georgia. Okay, it's going to happen. They cannot lose another game. They just can't. It's not going to happen. Ole Miss will beat Georgia. We got Michigan State. I'm going to pick them this week against Wisconsin. A lot of people hate me for that, but it is what it is. Florida and Tennessee. All right. Florida, this is their test. All right. Tennessee, they played Appalachian State. They have Virginia Tech, and they've got Josh Dobbs is, I think, proven himself. I'm going to take Tennessee over Florida. I don't think Florida's ready for them. The rivalry, Michigan-Penn State. Taking Harbaugh and company, Michigan all day. LSU-Auburn. This is going to be a very low-scoring game because LSU can't get a quarterback game together and Fournette can't carry 40 points a game. Auburn's defense is serious, but their offense is terrible, and LSU's D is good. Low-scoring game, LSU. Oklahoma State, Baylor. Oklahoma State coming off, their season's kind of doing this all year. I'm going to run with Baylor on this one. Stanford, UCLA. Got to take my boy McCaffrey. I think he's one of the best all-around players in college football right now. I'm running with Stanford. Arkansas, Texas A&M. Arkansas coming off some wins. A&M's picked up some wins this year. I'm going to run with Arkansas. All right. So there's my picks for Week 4. Everybody have a great weekend of college football. Stay safe. Stay out of trouble. See you back here next week.